next two are pretty much the same, so I'm just gonna come out with it because it's the best one. But
today I want to talk about language learning again. I have like 2-3 videos on it already, but yeah, it's that serious. I want to tell you what actually worked for me while learning French, and honestly what didn't help and maybe even got in the way of me learning it. So all of these tips that I'm giving you can be for either beginners or intermediate or even advanced. You decide when these tips are going to make sense for you. Let's go. I really didn't want to make this generic. I really hope this helps. On y va? Oh yeah! My name is Bruna. I'm a designer that loves reading books and learning languages, and today I want to talk about my whole entire process and methods that I used to learn French. Even forgot one. Okay. Let's start with what didn't work for me in trying to learn a new language. The first one is actually overwhelm and pressure for me to study. I went into it with a very bad mindset and I was like,
this is gonna be really hard, this is gonna be really tough.
Because I just started. Of course it was gonna be hard, but I didn't have to put so much pressure on that right off the bat because that really got in the way of my capabilities. And now, je peux parler français très bien, donc c'est pas impossible, d'accord? Second thing that didn't work, and people tell you to do this a lot, is to change your phone language to the target language. That does not help at all, at all. It might just frustrate you with the language. So putting your entire life, your phone, on that language is not going to really help you. It's just going to take you longer to do simple tasks and it's going to frustrate you, and then you're going to be approaching that language being very annoyed. So third one is reading children's books and stories and maybe even watching some kids shows in your target language. At least like that could be good for the first 2 weeks of you learning a new language because you are gonna learn a lot. Not saying that you won't, but at the same time, you're not a kid anymore, probably, unless you are, but you're gonna get bored really fast, and that is just gonna be counterproductive, and you're gonna waste your time trying to learn a language while watching Peppa Pig, you know? Fourth thing, and that can be especially for French, I don't know, but trying to memorize the verb conjugations was a nightmare and I don't recommend it. Just try to practice some situations that you're gonna encounter when you go to that country or actually speak that language, and then you can memorize the verb conjugations, but otherwise just don't sit there and try to. It's just too much work for very little outcome, I guess you can say. Unless verb to be. I am, you are, they are. Those verbs, yes, you can memorize, but the other ones, just no. The next one might be very specific to me, but watching just scattered classes and slow conversations on YouTube did not help me at all. And it also bored me very much. Slow conversations, I tried watching that Slow French YouTube channel and their content is very good. This is not shame in any way to their content and it helps a lot of people, but for me specifically, I got bored. But I think it was because I was already a little more advanced or intermediate in French, and the slow French just was like, yeah, you know? But maybe if you're a very true beginner, that can help a lot. So next one is a bit controversial, I guess, but podcasts. Because I'm someone that can't just listen to something and not do anything else. And for me, podcasts is kind of like that. So if I want to like listen to a French podcast and they're speaking very slowly or something very hard, I have to fully pay attention, and I just find that my mind wanders quite a lot while listening to podcasts. So they didn't work for me. And last but not least, of what didn't work and was completely BS is Duolingo. Duolingo can be fun and it can be very nice for you to learn, but if you depend solely on that, it's gonna get repetitive, it's gonna feel like a chore. Right now, it's a complement of what I do, and they actually really improved on that repetition system. Now for French, it's just one lesson and you go to the next one, which got so much better. I feel like I'm progressing really quickly. I understand the power of repetition, but in the way that they were doing was really bad. So Duolingo has to be something complementary and not the only method you're using. So yeah, you gotta be smart with Duolingo, otherwise, pas bon. Okay, so now let's get into the good stuff and what actually worked for me. The first one is full courses. I paid for one French course when I was a beginner, and it was a game changer for me. It wasn't a perfect French course, but it did help me a lot. And right now I'm in the middle of another one and it's very good. I really enjoy taking the classes. The classes are quick. Courses can be very hard for some people to get because it's most of the time it's not free. I fully understand how frustrating that can be, but it did help me and it gave me discipline. So maybe you can get your ChatGPT to come up with a study plan for you, and then you research classes on that topic every day. Second thing that worked for me was learning very little every day. This is atomic habits all over again, but yeah. Right now that I'm combining French with another language, I do like French Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and then Italian Thursday and Tuesday and Thursday. Try to study at least a little bit every day, even if it's like 5 minutes of a complete class. Even the tiniest bit that you learn is gonna help you in the long run. And it's better if you go like several days without learning the language and then one day you get like a 2-hour class. That's just not nice. But anyway, next one is very specific, I'm sorry, but working with a French person, that is very specific, but it is true. I really wanted to get this out. I was working with a French person and I was producing French content with them. So that was incredibly helppful. I wasn't coming up with the content. Obviously, I can't teach French to save my life, but I was helping produce the content and, you know, getting it cute and whatever because I'm a designer. So it really made me improve my French. I don't know, maybe get yourself some tasks in French, try to incorporate it in your work without jeopardizing your actual work, but you know, does that make sense? I hope so. Next one is watching videos of my interests in French. But how do you find those? You just look them up in French. So I can type on YouTube les meilleurs livres de romance en français. Voila. And it's gonna show me just videos about reading and romance and French all in one. So if you don't know, if you're not sure, just use Google Translate. Because if you just go like, oh, book reviews in French, it's probably not gonna show up because people don't use that to describe their videos if they're already French, you know? And do that if you are a little more advanced or intermediate. Otherwise, I'm not gonna understand anything because people talk very fast. In French, they talk faster. So next one is pretty basic. I think this one is the most generic tip, but is to follow French influencers. That's just a more passive way for you to learn the language. Of course, you're not gonna interact with the content as much, so it's gonna show up less on your For You page and your Explore page, but it's still a really good tip. Next one, the shadowing method, where that's basically when you watch a TV show in French and they're speaking French and then you try to imitate them or talk right after them. So if they're saying like je ne sais pas, you say right after je ne sais pas. Just try to repeat what they're saying all the time. And it's good for your pronunciation, it's good for your reading because you're gonna probably read the subtitles and your vocabulary. So it's a very good method and very underrated method. The next two are pretty much the same, so I'm just gonna come out with it because it's the best one. But recording yourself talking in that language is the best. Even better, bonus points if you post it like I did. And that also goes into talking to yourself and describing what you're doing in your target language, in my case, French. So maintenant, je suis en train de filmer en vidéo pour mon chaîne dans YouTube. Je te dis comment j'apprends le français et bah, c'est ça. It's very fast, it's very easy. And if you don't know, there is no shame in looking up what you're doing and translating it. I still do that a lot. If I don't know how to say something in French, I'll just ask Siri or look it up online on Google. Yeah, okay. I really hope these tips helped you to start your learning language journey. And whatever language it is, I am 100% sure you can do it. But set your expectations right, set your motivations right. So you are not going to be fluent in 3 months. Probably not. Just set a realistic expectation. So maybe, for example, I need to become an A2 level in 3 months. That's very realistic, but going to A1 to a C2, it's in 3 months is not realistic at all. Guys, it took me so many years to be this fluent in English. So many years. I started learning English when I was 9 and I'm 26. Yeah. It's been a long time. That's why I can speak it like that. And French for me has been on and off 4 years, something like that. And I'm still not even close to what I am in English, but that's okay. I'm not pressuring myself to be, but I can 100% order a bon chocolat for me. I can go to France and survive. That's really all that matters to me at this moment. All right, I really hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you on my next one. Bye. Oh, au revoir.